everyone, my name is Desola. I'm a fashion designer and you are welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Daisy's Wardrobe. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're an existing subscriber, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. And if you've seen my videos before and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And put on the notification bell so that you know when I put up a new video. I'm an African-inspired ready-to-wear fashion designer based here in Lagos, Nigeria, and I've been in business for 10 years. So here on my channel, I talk about how to start a business, how to run a business, being a fashion designer, all things business, all things fashion, and sometimes I talk about my life. And if there's something that interests you, so this is the place to be. So in today's video, I'll be talking about how to price your product to make a profit. So basically, a lot of people start businesses and they don't really understand, not that they don't know, but they don't understand the price point that should be attached to their product, should be attached to their garments in order to make a profit. And this is very important because a business is not making profits is eventually going to die. And so the most important and the most fundamental thing to growing a business that you love, is to price your products right, price them so that you can be able to make a profit, grow the business, and live a life that you love. So a lot of the time, when people start clothing brands or a clothing line and they're not really sure of what price point to attach to their products, they look around to their competitors and come up with an average or what the industry is pricing for their products or for their clothing, and they kind of like find a sweet spot to remain and just be there. But the thing is that a lot of the times this price point may not be okay for you. When it comes to pricing your products, you have to put into consideration a whole lot of things. And these things are the things that I'm going to discuss in this video. So you start a clothing line, you start a ready-to-wear clothing line, and you don't know what price point to put on your garment. You look around to your competitors and you determine what your price point will be. That is fine, that is okay. But you also have to consider certain things, because if you put a price point that is not okay for your business is going to suffer. All these other businesses who have a certain price point for their businesses may have not considered these things that I'm going to talk about. Because when you don't consider these things, you find out that along the line, even if you're making sales, you find out along the line you're struggling with the business. You're struggling in terms of paying certain expenses attached to the business. And these expenses are very, very, very important. So you have to look at the fact that what kind of business module do I have? And what do I mean by business module? How does my business run? In what way is it running? Is it running online? Is it running physically? You have to consider those things. And what are the costs that are attached to the way I run my business? So these costs, a lot of the times, these costs are very hidden. And sometimes these costs are actually in your face, in everybody's faces. So for example, if you run a physical store, you have to consider your rent. If it's a service building or a service space, you have to consider the service charge. You have to consider the cost of your employees who are going to assist you in running the business. You have to consider the cost of the branding items that you use to sell your products. You have to consider the cost of buying those things that you have put in your store to sell. So if you're buying them or if you're making them. So if you're making them, you also have to consider where you're making them. If you're making them in-house, if you have outsourced them to people to make for you, you have to consider all these things. So when you consider all these things, these are the things that would help you to come up with the right price point. So for example, let's say you are selling a certain kind of clothing item or a certain kind of product for $10. Within that industry, within that business, other people or your competitors are also selling that same product within $10 to $15. And then you now decide that you are going to sell yours for $10. And what is the reason why you're selling yours for $10? You don't have an idea. You just feel that you want to compete on price. So basically, if yours is cheaper, you feel that you're going to get or attract more customers to your business. And at the end of the day, you find out that the $10 doesn't even cut it. So if you're not selling volumes of that product, sometimes $10 is not really enough to cover your expenses and also pay all your overhead and be able to pay yourself at the end of the day. So if you're selling your item for $10, you need to ask yourself, at the rate of $10, how many of this product do I have or do I need to sell to be able to cover my expenses? That's number one. How many of these products do I have to sell to be able to cover my expenses and my overhead? That's number two. Number three, how many of these $10 items do I need to sell to be able to cover my expenses, pay my overhead, and pay myself a decent salary? How many of this product do I need to sell at $10, pay my expenses, pay my overhead, and pay myself a salary? When you have that worked out and the mathematics is not adding up, then you need to tweak your prices, because at the end of the day, if you use price as your competitive advantage initially, always remember that if you decide to increase your prices, some customers may not be having it. Some customers may decide that they don't want to even buy from you at all. So this is something that you really need to think about before you put a price to your product, especially if you're even just starting your business. When you're just starting your business, that's even the most tricky part, because I experienced it years ago. And when you start, even if you don't even have competitors to even look to, and you think, okay, how much should I? You have this fantastic product or you've made this fantastic item, and because it's yours, you made it, you don't really see a lot of value in it, and then you kind of like, so okay, just take it, just buy it, just buy it. I don't know, just buy it, just give me what you have. No. You need to know what your price point is going to be, because honestly, trust me, running a struggling business is not it. Running a struggling business is the beginning of your health and mental problems. Trust me. So on the flip side of things, if you have your store online and it's not in a physical space, your price points will kind of like vary from when you have a physical space, depending on what exactly it is that you are selling. So when you have an online space, you consider things like how much you have used to set up this online store, the cost of your inventory, the cost of the back end of running this online store, which can include your manpower, which is your employee or employees. It can include your branding items, which are your carrier bags, all those things basically. I can't think of all of them right now. So you have to consider those things. If you have a delivery service whereby you have free delivery to your customers, which is also a good incentive to make people buy from you online, you also have to factor the cost of those things. Because if you're telling customers that, buy from me online, I'll give you free delivery, if you don't factor those, in as much as that will attract customers, you're not Santa. You have to consider the cost of that. Either 50% or 80% or 100% in your pricing, because at the end of the day, you need to make a profit so that you can grow your business, so that your business can thrive, your business can flourish. And at the end of the day, just scale your business basically. Because if you're not making profit, you can't scale your business and your business will eventually die. Another pricing strategy is that if you are struggling to find the right price point for your product or your clothing, you can just think, okay, in a year, how much do I need to make to run this business successfully for a year? How much would it be? And you have to be realistic. Don't say, I want one outrageous amount. If you've been in business for a while, look at the last couple of years. What your revenue has been, your total revenue has been, and then you can use that to project what it will cost you to run that business for a whole year. Then when you have these figures, then you divide it by 12 months. It will give you what you need to make each month on average. And then you divide it by 4 weeks in a month to give you what you need to make on a weekly basis. And you can even go further and divide it by 7 days or 6 days or 5 days, depending on how many days of the week you want your business open to customers. And then you get a figure. And when you get this figure, this is a good starting place for you. And this figure that you have come up with, you also have to look at your competitors and see what are they pricing. Is it close to this? Is it within the same range as this? If it is, that's fine. And if it is not, if it is even higher than your competitors, then you need to look at what you're selling. What you're selling has to be top notch. What you're selling has to be good. What you're selling, when customers say, why is yours more expensive than XYZ? Then you tell them, or even if you don't tell them, they need to see with their eyes that, oh wow, no wonder it's so expensive. Oh wow, no wonder. But yes, that's another pricing strategy. So my video for today is done. If you enjoyed watching my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and put on the notification bell so that you know when I put up a new video. And so I will see you soon. Bye.